Welcome to the mini story for The Race. Let's get started. It was 5 o'clock and Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
Oh, that's great.
When was Alan riding his motorcycle?
Oh, it's 5 o'clock.
Well, at 5 o'clock, right? At 5 o'clock,
Yes, at
Alan
5 o'clock.
was riding his motorcycle.
Yes.
Was Alan riding his car?
No,
Or
he's
was
riding
Alan
his motorcycle.
riding his motorcycle? Well, of course, Alan was riding his motorcycle. Where was Alan riding his motorcycle?
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco. Alan was riding his motorcycle in San Francisco.
Oh, yes.
When was he riding?
It's 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, Alan was riding his motorcycle
Yes.
in San Francisco.
Yes.
He was riding down Van Ness Street and came
Yes.
to a stoplight.
Stoplight.
Who was riding down Van Ness Street?
Alan is riding down
Alan.
Van Ness Street.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street. What was he riding on? Well, on a motorcycle. He was riding on his motorcycle. Was he riding down Market Street?
No. He's riding.
No,
He's riding
not
down,
Market Street. He
Van Ness
wasn't
Street.
riding down Market Street. Was he riding down Lombard Street?
No. He's riding down.
No, he wasn't
Van Ness
riding
Street.
down Lombard Street. He was riding down Van Ness Street.
Yes.
When? When was he riding down Van Ness Street?
It's 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock,
He's riding.
he was riding down Van Ness Street. Who was riding down Van Ness Street?
Alan.
5
Alan
o'clock.
is riding down Van Ness Street. It's
Alan.
5 o'clock.
Alan was riding down Van Ness Street
Stoplight.
at
Traffic
5
light.
o'clock. Was he in a truck?
No.
No, he wasn't in a truck. He was on his motorcycle. And he came to a stoplight.
Stoplight. Traffic
Did
light.
Alan come to a go light?
No.
No. He didn't come to a go light.
Cool light.
He came to a stoplight.
Stoplight. Yes.
We never say go light. We only say stoplight.
Oh yes.
Who came to a stoplight?
Alan's. I'm sure.
Alan, of course. Alan came to a stoplight. What was he on when he came to a stoplight?
Motorcycle.
A motorcycle. He was on a motorcycle when he came to a stoplight. Where was the stoplight?
Oh, on Van Ness Street.
Well, on Van Ness Street. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street. Was the stoplight on Embarcadero Street? Or was the stoplight on Van Ness Street?
No. Van
Van
Ness.
Ness, of course, Van Ness. The stoplight was on Van Ness Street. Who was at the stoplight?
Alan.
Alan was at the stoplight. Which city
It's shitty.
was Alan in? In San Francisco. Of course. Alan was in San Francisco. Where is Van Ness?
Where in Van Ness?
Well,
Van Ness
Van
Street,
Ness
San
Street
Francisco.
is in San Francisco. Of course. Van Ness Street is in San Francisco. Is Van Ness Street in New York?
No.
Or is Van Ness Street in San Francisco?
Van Ness Street in San Francisco, I'm sure.
Of course, Van Ness Street is in San Francisco.
Definitely.
Where was Alan riding?
He was riding on Van Ness Street and
He
come
was
to
riding
a stoplight.
On Van Ness Street in San Francisco. And he came to a stoplight.
Stoplight.
A red Ferrari pulled up next to him.
Oh, yes.
Did the red Ferrari pull up behind him?
No. Not behind.
No, not
Push
behind
up
him.
Next to him.
The red Ferrari pulled up next to him.
Next to him.
What pulled up next to Alan?
A red Ferrari.
A red Ferrari.
Ferrari.
A red Ferrari pulled
Ferrari.
up next to Alan. Did Alan pull up next to a red Ferrari?
No. A red Ferrari.
No.
pulls up
Alan
next to him.
didn't pull up next to a red Ferrari. A red Ferrari pulled up
Ferrari pulls
next
up
to
next to
him.
Him.
Where did the red Ferrari pull up next to Alan?
On the stoplight.
At a stoplight on
Van
Van Ness Street. At a stoplight on Van Ness Street, a red Ferrari pulled up next to Alan. Was Alan in a red Ferrari?
No.
No. Alan wasn't
Alan
in
wa-
a red Ferrari.
Alan riding on
was on
motorcycle.
A motorcycle. Alan was on a motorcycle.
Yes.
What did the red Ferrari do?
Punjab next to him.
Well, it pulled up
Punjab.
next to Alan.
Punjab.
The red Ferrari
Up.
pulled up
Like to
next
him.
to Alan. The driver was wearing dark sunglasses.
Oh, red.
So, Alan was wearing dark sunglasses.
No. Alan,
No, not Alan. Alan wasn't wearing dark sunglasses.
no sunglasses.
Who was wearing dark sunglasses?
The drivers of
The driver
Ferrari.
of the Ferrari. The driver of the Ferrari was wearing dark sunglasses. Not Alan.
Los Angeles.
The driver looked over at Alan. Did the driver look behind Alan?
No. Not look behind.
No.
No,
He
show
looked over
Look
at Alan.
over.
Who looked over at Alan?
The driver of the red
The driver
Ferrari.
of the Ferrari looked over at Alan. Did Alan look over at the driver?
Yes, it is.
Yes, he did. Alan also looked over at the driver. Who was the driver?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise! Tom Cruise was the driver. Alan looked over at the driver and realized that the driver was Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Who was the driver of the Ferrari?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was the driver of the Ferrari.
Ferrari. Red Ferrari.
Who was the motorcycle rider?
Alan. Yes.
Alan. Alan was the motorcycle rider, and Tom Cruise was the driver of the Ferrari. Who looked over at Alan?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise looked over at Alan.
Islands.
What was Tom Cruise wearing?
Then glasses. That's glasses.
Sunglasses.